I smiled and slowly leaned in, only to place my lips over his. He immediately reacted. I felt his breath against my mouth. His lips were soft and gentle against mine as he took the command. He kissed me slowly, the making sure I was feeling the warmth and love behind it. When he pulled away, he rested his forehead against mine. His breath will mingle with mine. And a lone drop of tear fell from my eyes out of that, and my heart was racing in my chest, and my breath was shallowed. A soft whimper escaped my lips. As he taped the kiss, his palm was cupping my cheeks, and his kiss would deepen more. As he wrapped his arms around me, pulling me against him, his lips moved again, and slowly and passionately danced. His kiss, my lips, my cheeks, my forehead. His hands were roaming over my body, tracing the curve of my body and sides. His hands were exploring my body, tracing the pattern of my skin. His hand would reach behind me, and he looked into my eyes. Slowly he removed my dress aside. In a case that desirable, I had to give up. Anyhow, he touched my gently, very gently. He cupped it with his palm and pressed it lightly, just one. They felt his legs were turning into jelly. They placed his trembling hand over his chest to spot. They didn't know how to respond. The tear welled up in his eyes due to nervousness. The moment he realized he was breathless, he backed off. They were breathing heavily. He looked down at their tear-filled eyes and then felt his trembling hand over his chest, and eyes were fully open. Did I scare him? I should ask him about that. Jungkook mentally cursed himself. He covered Tae with an arm. He picked Tae up in his arm in a bridal style and placing in the bed. He filled a glass of water and poured it near his mouth. They took a few sips and then turned his head away. They were sweating heavily. I'm sorry, he said. They snapped his head toward him. He looked as he turned back and went inside the washroom to calm his nerve. He regrets it, they thought, and tears fell down for his eyes. He closed his eyes and lay down beside, hiding his face in the pillow. Jin was humming a happy song, walking across the corridor. Namjoon peeked out his room. He grabbed his hand and behind him, pulled him inside the room. Jin screamed. Namjoon quickly covered his mouth and screamed, "Stop it!" Jin elbowed him on his stomach. He yelped and removed his hand. How romantic, he murmured and rolled his eyes. Jin roamed his eyes across the room. There were a lot of changes. The old car photo frames were exchanged with the classic paintings. New curtains and bean bags were replaced by that sofa. You have made these changes? Jin asked in surprise. Yeah, he pressed his back against the wall. I thought my room was boring, and since we both going to share the room in few days, I made the changes with the help of mom. You can do whatever you wanted to afterward, but for now, I was tired. I love it, Jin said. You didn't need to make all these changes. I'm going anyways. His smile disappeared. It is still going to be your room, he replied. Why can't you stop me for growing abroad? You said by yourself that I can study here. I just don't understand why you're so to sun me now, Jin said in frustration. Don't waste your opportunity. That's all I want. Remember, you want to fulfill Uncle's wish, he said calmly. Then you will come with me. He folded his arm in his chest. Namjoon forward and held his hand. Jin, try to understand. You don't have to break your father's heart. And at the same time, I cannot let my dad alone. He needs my help in the company. They are letting us get married without any handle that. Why can't we think about their happiness too? We both can pay to each other. It's just a matter of 2 years. You're right. but I just don't want to live without you. He said, Anyway, don't worry, I won't get married a second time. In your absence, because society is only a damn one time, he said playfully. It sounded funny. He narrowed his eyes at him. They stepped inside the hall, taking a slow steps, and Ian was holding his finger. He glanced around. The white and pink were floral decor and different type of lightning look incredible. They looked down at Ein, who was lost in the decor as well. He sat down on the floor on his feet. Ein, I know you are thinking of a way to get all these things. He picked up Ein in his arm and stood up, but I'm going to spoil your plan. Let's go and see what your uncle is doing. They walked up to the place where everyone was sitting. Jin, Jimin, Eugene were sitting on the floor cushion. Tae, come, Jin called him. We were waiting for you. Anne was asleep. I was waiting for her, they said. Write Namjoon on my hand too, Eugene said, mischievously. Jin's smile was vanished. Don't you dare, Jin said strictly to the girl. Why? He's almost my groom-to-be. Eugene went and high-fived with Jimin. He is mine, Jin said. The possessiveness was dripping over his voice. They moved his head, and her eyes fell on Namjoon. He was standing at the far end of the hall. And look at him. You want to see my effect on him? Jin's big. There you go. Jin smiled at him and blew a kiss to him. Namjoon beamed. Jimin whistled, and it broke his trees. He quickly turned around and collided with the wall. He rubbed his forehead and left the place. Did you see? Jin laughed. Eugene, Tae, Jimin joined him too. By the way, the destruction you had done in the hotel cost a lot, Jimin said. But it's all worth it. I had lost my mind. Jin giggled. Jeff, come here. Jimin called Jeff. Can you take care of Hein? Sure. Jeff nodded. Take Hein for Taehyung. Jimin nodded him. Jimin took Taehyung's hand and said, Right, Jungkook's in his hand too. They didn't say anything. Jimin would make him do that even if he didn't want to. What we all are crazy in love. But I just love the way Tae and Jungkook love each other. The deep, sensational type of love. It's divine, soft, special, embracing, and soulful. Jin said dreamily. Love? The word stopped the world around Tae. Jungkook, how does it feel when someone fell in love? If it keep you awake the night, still make you dream, it's make you weak in his days, still you become his strength. If it's make you restless and still give you the peace, it is love, pure love, because only love can do everything, all at once. I'm in love with him. The realization would dawn upon him. His own thought would knocked the wind out of his lung. They quickly snatched his hand back for the boy. It's not done yet, the boy said. They stared at his incomplete name, but half-spelled name of Jungkook. Let me complete the name, the boy said, and Taehyung stood up. What happened? Jin informed. It's enough. They replied and hurriedly climbed the steps and entered the room and closed the door behind him with a thud. How did it happen? He murmured and looked at his hand. How? How can I fall in love with him? The lips were wobbled, with the tears welled up in his eyes. He stood toward the washroom, turned on the tap, and let the water flow on his hand. He rubbed off all his name.